Alright, guys, what's going on? Milwaukee coming at you once again. Today's topic of discussion is none other than X Men issue 2. No one can stop the Vanisher. Let's get into it. Issue starts off with Professor X summoning the X Men back to the mansion. I guess they don't live there. They're all coming from, different places. Beast hops a train. Angel swoops in and flies, Jean Grey to the place. Iceman takes an ice cream truck there. It's crazy. So when they reach the academy, Professor X briefs them on this new mutant out there known as the Vanisher. So they go to the danger room and they start training up so they can take on this new foe. Meanwhile, the Vanisher, he goes to the Pentagon and he lets them know, the people who work at the Pentagon, that he's coming back to steal their plans in a few days. So be ready for him. But nobody can stop him because he's the Vanisher. So the X-Men keep training, and the day finally comes. They head off to DC, and guess what? The Vanisher, he defeats them. They couldn't stop him. His ability to disappear, they couldn't keep track of him, couldn't keep hold of him. There was nothing they could do. The X-Men walk away in defeat. So it's at this point, the X-Men are publicly defeated. So all these henchmen, they start, going, with the Vanquisher. They're like, oh, we're settle a lot with this guy, and the Vanquisher is demanding like $10 million, or he's going to sell the Pentagon's plans to the communists of all people. Got to remember, these books are written in the 60s. Classic Cold War. Anyway, it's round two, X-Men versus the Vanquisher, but they brought Professor X with them, and there's a good reason why they brought him with them, because Professor X, he's able to keep, like, mentally track of the Vanisher, and he uses his mental powers to make the Vanisher cry like a baby and forget who he is. And then the X-Men, they mop up, the henchmen, and that's another story in the books. That's for what I liked about this issue. You really see the team, they're still growing, they're still coming together. You like to see the teamwork. This is the type of stuff you would expect out of a team book, which, quite frankly, I don't read a lot of. I read, Jeff Johns' Teen Titans run back in the day, but I don't really remember much of it. But it's just something with the way, like Jack Kirby draws these characters and the teamwork, and one guy sets up the villain so the other guy can come in and take him out from the next panel. It's good stuff. And we're seeing some character growth. We're starting to see a little bit more personality from the characters. The Vanisher, he was an okay villain, I guess. The ability to like disappear, and like I like that he was calling the shots. He goes to the Pentagon and he tells them, I'll be back in a few days. Do your worst to stop me, but you will not be able to stop me. I like the cockiness, I like the arrogance, but as you can see in the end, Professor X got his ass. Doesn't need to see him to mentally break him down. As far as my dislikes, I wouldn't say I disliked it, but the X Men, they're public. I didn't expect that. I thought there'd be like secret heroes, like usual, but they're out there in the public. They're getting newspaper articles written about them. So it's like they're out there. And as someone who reads like a lot of Batman and stuff, well, I guess Batman's out there, but he's always supposed to be secretive, even if everybody knows that he exists. But I'm just not used to the heroes like having newspapers and becoming famous. And yeah, so like when they get defeated by the Vanquisher. So when they get defeated by the Vanisher, it's kind of a big deal. It makes it press, and it's like, oh, are the X-Men jokes? Overall, X-Men issue 2, no one can stop the Vanquisher. I'll give it like a 3. It's, I don't know. It's just 3 out of 5. And let's keep this episode rolling right into issue 3. Beware of the Blob. My favorite X-Men issue thus far. Let's get into it. Issue starts off with Scott Summers training. What's that you said? Who's Scott Summers? What happened to Slim? I don't know. Maybe Slim was always his nickname, or they just decided to change his name in this issue to Scott, like I knew it was. I knew he was always Scott Summers, and that Slim threw me off. But here it's official. They make a big deal out of it. He's Scott Summers going forward. So anyway, he's being trained. Then all of a sudden, Professor X, right, he senses a new mutant out there. So he's like, "Get ready, X-Men. We got to go find this new mutant, and we got to recruit him." So everybody's, they're getting dressed in their street clothes because this is not a mission for the X-Men, but this is like a mission for undercover mission, let's say. And so they're all getting dressed in their civilian clothes, and everybody's racing because they want to compete to see who's going to take Jean Grey out on the town and you go searching for the mutant with her. Even Bobby, even Bobby, he's interested, not gay. And it's here as the X-Men are all gathering that Professor X, he's having like an inner monologue where he reveals that he loves Jean Grey. He himself even wants to compete to take her out, but he feels like he can't because he's in a wheelchair, which was a little strange, a little weird there. The teacher got the hots for Jean Grey, huh? She must be some woman, huh? Anyway, they all go out into the city. Cyclops stumbles upon the Blob at the carnival, and he goes and says, lets them know that, hey, we're the X-Men. Come back with us. Professor X wants to see you and test you out. So Blob goes to the mansion and he goes through the test. The Professor X offers him a chance to join the X-Men, but Blob, he's not interested. He's his own man. He doesn't feel like he needs these juveniles dragging him down. He's the Blob, of course. So he refuses, and then Professor X is like, well, we can't let you leave, buddy. You know our identities. You know where we live. It's time to wipe that mind. But Blob ain't having it, so he mops the floor with the X-Men and goes back to the carnival. Once back at the carnival, Blob takes over. He's like, yo, I'm the boss now. And he recruits all the freaks and the ghouls and everybody. And he rounds them up and he says, yo, let's go back to the X house. Let's beat these X-Men. I want their secrets. I want their knowledge. It's all for the Blob. He recruits them all and they all go marching to the X-Mansion. And they have a big throwdown on the front lawn. There's giraffes. The Beast is fighting a gorilla. They got like trapeze guys. He brings the whole carnival. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, as before, Blob demolishes the X-Men. They're all captured. Professor X uses his mental powers to talk to Jean Grey to get her to use her telekinesis to undo her bindings so she can free the other X-Men. And all the other X-Men chase the Blob into the mansion where the Blob is confronting Professor X, who was in the wheelchair. And Professor X then uses like this ray he builds to wipe everybody's mind, all the carnival people, so they forget who the X-Men are, where they live, and all that stuff. And that's the issue. But Professor X knows that the mind wipe won't last long, and he expects to see the Blob again down the road. So we'll have to see about that. As far as my likes for this issue, I really like the carnival setting. A perfect place to find a mutant. Just I thought it was just too good. The fight on the front lawn of the X Mansion, where the X Men are getting their asses handed to them by all these circus people. I really enjoyed it. We see character growth with the training, and more again the characters' personalities coming out. You see that they're getting stronger with their training, and it's all really coming together right here in issue 3. I feel like thus far this is the high point of the X-Men that I've read the 3 issues. So that being said, I'm gonna give this one 4 out of 5. Like I said, it's my favorite issue thus far of the 3 that I have read. So hopefully we get more stuff like this in the future. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you guys thought of the video. If you're reading along, let me know what you think of the comics. And until next time, I'll see you then.